friends, this is Dawn and Kodiak. We're here to do some yoga together today. This is a great little practice for some grounding, for some stretching after maybe a long run or a hard day of work. And as you're ready, we're just going to find our way down to our mats. If you don't have a mat, a blanket or a towel can work too. If you've got sensitive knees, you might want to have a blanket handy to tuck them underneath your knees when we do our cat-cow at the beginning. If you have a pillow, that might be helpful for Shavasana at the end. But if you don't have any of those things, just jump onto your mat and let's get started. All right, so as we're ready, we're going to find our way to our nice comfortable seat. For me, it's sitting cross-legged, but you can keep your legs extended as well. We're going to feel really grounded through the sits bones and find a nice lift through the upper body. Gently raising the chin up so that the head is reaching towards the sky. You can place your hands on your knees, palms face down if you need a little bit more grounding, palms face up if you want to bring in a little more energy right now. We're just going to start by finding 3 deep breaths together. This might be the biggest breath you've taken all day, but I invite you to maybe close your eyes or just soften your gaze for a moment. Then we take the big inhale through the nose, and then we exhale through the nose or through the mouth. We're going to try to make that inhale about 4 count on the inhale and about a 4, 5, or 6 count on the exhale, just kind of slowing things down. So as you're ready, take a big inhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale through the nose or the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big inhale, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll do one more big inhale. And then exhale. And then as you're ready, we're going to find some gentle movement. So we're going to start with the neck. I'm going to sit up nice and tall again. And then I invite you to drop that left ear to the left shoulder. Finding a nice stretch through the right side of the neck. And then coming through center, chin to chest. Taking it to the other side. We'll slowly come back to center. And do one more time each side. So starting with that first side, nice big stretch. And we'll come through center. And then take it to that other side. And then from here, you might do 1 or 2 gentle circles, just inviting you to lead with the chin. So it kind of keeps it a little bit more mindful. Just following all the way around. And maybe go the other direction. All right, and then from here, we're going to go to the shoulders. So we're going to inhale, bring them up to the ears. You exhale, dropping them down. And again, inhale, bring them up. Exhale, drop them down. And then last one, nice big inhale, brings them up. And then my exhale, drop them down. And then we move to the arms, shaking them all out. Taking that nice big T shape, we'll bring the fingers back, feeling a stretch through the forearms, through the upper arms maybe. Just finding an opening through the chest. And I invite you to plant one hand and reach the other one all the way up and over. And we'll come back through center, nice big T, and take it to the other side. And we'll come all the way back to center one more time each side, starting with that first hand. And then coming back, and then second side. And then come like all the way back up. And then from here, we're going to make our way to our cat-cow. So if you do need to put something underneath your knees, now would be the time to do it. We're going to come into our table shape, trying to line those wrists up so that they're lined underneath the shoulders here, and then the knees are underneath the hips. Planting both hands, spreading the fingers nice and wide. You're going to press those toes flat on the mat. Try to keep them in line with each other so that they're parallel and not coming towards each other right now. And then pressing up through the back. Neck is nice and long here. And then we're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow. So here we drop the belly with an inhale to look up. And then with our exhale, chin to chest, rounding through the spine, dropping the tailbone. Inhale, Coming back to our cow pose. And then exhale, take us to cat pose. And then staying here for a few more. And then as you do your next one, maybe adding some extra movement. You might wag the tail from side to side. You might make kind of some circles looking underneath the armpits as you stretch it out. I always like to come back a little bit, really feel the stretch through that low back. But this is really your practice, so finding what you need in this moment. And then finding some stillness. And we're going to play a little bit with a balancing table, so we're going to extend that left leg long, but keep it on the ground to start, keeping the toes down. And then just finding a gentle rock forward and back. I find this here is a great way to stretch out the toes, trying to keep that pinky toe down on the ground, and maybe stretching through the hamstrings and the calves as well. And then just slowly finding some stillness. We're going to add this a little bit as a strength and a little bit of core. So maybe lifting that leg all the way up, trying to keep the hips in line with each other, flexing through that back leg. You might stay here, or you might reach that opposite arm forward. And then exhale to lower. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, extending the other leg nice and long, keeping the toes on the ground. Stretching through the toes, trying to get that pinky toe on the ground. Stretching through the legs and just finding some movement. And then finding some stillness, we'll lift that leg up and then invite you to reach the opposite hand forward. And exhale to lower. The next one from here is going to be thread the needle. So we'll inhale to reach that left hand all the way up to the sky. And then we're going to take it down to the ground underneath, bringing that shoulder to the mat, forehead to the mat. And then you might stay here. Your right hand, you might reach that elbow up, or you might take your right hand all the way up and take it towards the middle of your back. Find a nice stretch through the bottom shoulder here. And then be mindful of what your feet are doing. Just trying to keep them in that parallel shape. Remembering to breathe. And as you're ready, moving the right hand back to the mat. If you've moved it, using it to push yourselves up. Reaching that left hand all the way up. And then exhale to release. And then one more on the other side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, threading it through. Again, the left hand might stay on the mat with just the elbow lifted, or you might reach that hand up to the sky and take it towards the middle of the back. Remembering to breathe, really being mindful of that bottom shoulder. And always come out of this early. But then with your next inhale, we'll take that left hand back to the mat. Use it to press yourselves up, reaching up. And exhale to release. And then from here, we're going to take a child's pose. So big toes to touch. And take the knees nice and wide. Shift the hips back to the heels. You can walk your hands out and keep them elbows lifted, bringing the forehead to the mat. Or maybe you lower the elbows and walk them back in to find a little bit more grounding. Really being mindful how this feels in your knees and your hips. If it's too much, you can always come to a comfortable seat or just lift yourselves back up. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And then we're slowly going to make our way back to our table shape, walking those knees back in line. And then we're going to take 1 downward facing dog. So we're going to tuck the toes under, lift the knees up, reach the hips up to the sky. Heels are coming to the mat. Feeling a nice stretch all the way through the legs. And then maybe we bend one knee and straighten the other one, and then switch. And just do this a couple times. This is our pedaling out the legs, like you're riding an imaginary bicycle. Also good toe stretch here, but really good for the hamstrings and the calves. And then slowly finding stillness, reaching those heels towards the mat. And don't worry if they don't come. Mine do not come all the way to the ground, especially on this first one. And then we're just going to lower back to the ground and come to a seat. From our seat here, we're going to do a little bit of a leg stretch. So we're going to start with Janu Sirsasana, which is just like your one-legged runner stretch. Extending one leg, maybe your left leg nice and long, bringing the right foot in. We're going to flex the toes towards the face. We're going to turn gently towards the leg. We're going to inhale to reach the arms up. And like you're holding a nice big beach ball, you're going to reach up and then out, reaching towards the outstretched leg. You might reach your toes, but if not, you can bring your hands somewhere on your calf or your shin. So you're finding some grounding here. Stretch maybe through the hamstrings, maybe through the calves, maybe through the low back, and just being really mindful of how this feels here. And always remembering to breathe. We'll take one more big breath. And then just slowly rolling ourselves up. We're gonna add a seated twist. So we're gonna take this bent leg, so here's my right leg. We're gonna take the right leg across the left and try to plant the foot on the ground. If your left leg is long, you're gonna use that left arm to hug the knee into the chest. And then you might stay here, feeling how this feels in your right hip, or you might reach your right hand up and then drop it behind you, finding a little twist. Remembering to breathe, and on your inhale, you might sit up a little bit taller. Your exhale, you might twist a little bit more. And then we'll slowly unravel, extend both legs nice and long. I like to give them a little shake out, and then we'll switch sides. So the right leg is long, flexing the toes towards the face, petting any animals you might have. Turning towards the outstretched leg, we'll inhale to reach the arms up, and exhale as we fold forward. Once again, feeling that nice stretch. For me, it's primarily in the hamstring. It might be in your low back, your calves, but just noticing how it feels. And just trying to keep your focus here. Then with our next inhale, we'll slowly roll it up. We're gonna take this bent leg across. The left leg is now across the right, using that right arm to hug the knee into the chest. And then that left hand reaching up and drop it behind us. And then we slowly unravel. Come all the way back to center. We're gonna take the soles of the feet together. Get ready for our cobbler's pose. So bring the hands to your ankles or maybe to your feet. Sitting up nice and tall. Giving your feet a little massage. It's always nice to give the feet some love. And then we sit up nice and tall. And then coming forward with a flat back and then slowly rounding. You might gently use your elbows to press on the legs, but really just being mindful to find a nice opening through the hip. But again, no pain here. And then as we're ready, we're gonna take the hands to the knees, gently bring them all the way back up. We're gonna make our way onto our backs. Getting ready for our bridge pose. But first, we're gonna bring those knees into the chest, interlace the fingers around the knees maybe, and gently pull them in, or you might just take your hands to your kneecaps. You might invite you to make some circles here by pressing them away, around, and back. Just giving your low back a little bit of a massage. And then making circles in the opposite direction. And then releasing the feet on the mat. Walking the feet towards the buttocks, extending the arms long, fingers pressing down. For our yoga bridge, we're going to press that low back down, tilting the pelvis, and then slowly pressing through the feet, knees forward, or shins forward, knees are parallel, lifting the hips up, and then keeping that chest to the chin and the chin to the sky. We'll do 3 of these here, finding a nice hold. And then as you're ready, we're going to exhale and slowly lower down 1 vertebrae at a time. And we'll do 2 more. Pausing for a moment in stillness. Nice big inhale, nice big exhale. And then we slowly tilt the pelvis, pressing that low back into the mat, tilting the tailbone up, and then lifting the hips up. Find a little stretch and strength here today. and then slowly lowering all the way down. We'll do one more. Again, checking your feet, making sure they're relatively parallel to each other. Knees are parallel. You might even imagine that you're holding a block in between your knees. Shins are forward, pressing through the palms to keep yourself stable, and then slowly tilting the pelvis, lifting the tailbone, and then pressing up, lifting up, coming to that bridge. And then exhale as we slowly lower all the way down. As we're ready, we're going to bring the knees into the chest, bring ourselves into a little ball again, maybe point and flex the toes, maybe gently rock from side to side. And then we're going to add a twist. So we're going to take those arms out wide to a T shape, or you might cactus the arms if you don't have enough space. We're going to bring the knees all the way over to the left side. We're going to keep the gaze either at the ceiling, or we're going to turn our head towards the right. We're going to try to keep that right shoulder on the mat, and remembering to breathe here. You might take your left hand to your knees. And as we're ready, we slowly come all the way back up to center. And then I just gotta slide over a little bit. If you're near the wall, you might have to too. And then we're just gonna drop the knees over to the right side. Again, the arms can stay cactus or like goalpost shape, or you can extend the arms out into a T. If your knees are to the right, you're either gazing up at the ceiling or you're looking towards your left hand. Right hand might come to your knees. Taking one more big breath, and we'll slowly come all the way back to center. Release the feet, bringing the hands back to your sides. We're going to get ready for our figure 4 shape, which is also could be called reclined pigeon. We're going to take that right foot across the left, opening through the hip. And then you can always stay here with your foot planted, or if you feel comfortable, you can lift that left foot up, bringing it into the chest, flexing through the feet, interlacing the fingers around the thigh. Finding a nice stretch through the right hip, connecting with the breath. Just noticing how this feels. And then slowly release. We'll exchange the legs, so bringing that right foot down, then the left foot comes across the right, opening through the left hip. And again, you might stay with the right foot planted, or bringing it into the chest, flexing through the feet, interlacing the fingers around the right thigh. Always being mindful your two sides might be very different. And if one side, like my left side, is tighter, you might find yourself coming back out of it a little bit sooner. And as you're ready, we'll just release, coming all the way back down. And then from here, I'm just going to take a few moments to find any movement you might need. And then we're going to get ready for our resting Shavasana. And walk your feet as wide as the yoga mat and bring the knees into touch. Or maybe you extend the legs nice and long, palms face up. Wherever you are, I just want you to stay here for a couple of moments and just practice returning your breath to its natural state. Allowing yourself to just soften and feel supported by the ground. Remembering to breathe. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a great day.